Hello everyone, welcome back to Primetime Crisis. It's time to talk some more Legends of Tomorrow. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
Jayson, what is the name of our episode for today, sir?
The Shogun.
Yeah, Shogun. And, well, no, it's not guns. They have swords. They're Japanese samurai. So we are going back to feudal Japan this episode. Got kind of a Ninja Turtles 3 scenario going on. And this episode is marginally better than Ninja Turtles 3. We see Ray and Nate going back to feudal Japan after the site of the time ship gets blown off and they get sucked in to another time period. Like I said, feudal Japan. It is hilarious right off the bat. Let me say this, that Nate and I realize he's a historian, and I realize that he gets lucky that this is real convenient, that he just happens to go to his favorite time in history, and that he knows everything there is to know about this time period. He's able to tell, just looking at the landscape, not only where he is, like exactly what part of the world he's in, but also what time period he's in. He looks around, he's like, 17th century feudal Japan. I'm like, how can you tell that just looking at mountain ranges? Anyway, so, as we've been doing lately, I think what we'll do is let Jayson kind of run down his notes and tell us things that he observed and liked or didn't like about this episode, and I will fill in as we move along with some character and thematic stuff, such as it is with this show. This episode is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go ahead and get into it. Jayson, go ahead and get started with your notes, man.
Okay, Sarah is that fire guy and the yellow clothes that
That's Vixen.
They shouldn't
That's Vixen.
fight around.
Yeah, that's true. So Vixen is being added to our regular cast here. I'm really glad that we're not stretching out Vixen thinking that any of the legends are involved in Rex's death. I thought that could be a thing that went on for a while. I thought maybe she would chase them around for a bit, but then it's not like she's a time traveler, so I guess we couldn't have really done that. But we could have kept her in the brig a lot longer. I'm glad that we very quickly have her being pretty reasonable in understanding that they didn't do this. I also don't mind her relationship with Rory. I think that whole thing was kind of fun. Maybe an obvious way to go, but she has good reason to think that Rory over any of the others would have been maybe the person that would have killed Rex, because he's a criminal and he's killed a lot of people and he's not at first glance a good person. And surprisingly, I thought that we kind of got her to a place at the end. I'm somewhat surprised I'm saying this, that she says he has the makings of a hero, and I even like his line, "Well, you don't know me at all then." I think that weirdly we are being more consistent with Rory than we are, or as consistent as we are with anybody else in this show. But I don't know, that whole dynamic was kind of fun, and it'll be interesting to see why Vixen... Well, I was going to say I don't think there will be a reason. I think she'll just stay there. Because by the end, I'm not sure why Vixen isn't like, well, take me back home. They're like... The legends are like, let's just go find some other random time period to go gallivant around in until something important happens in the show with Damien Dark and Reverse Flash. Which, of course, is insane because it's a time stream, so time's not moving linearly. If anything was going to happen, it should have happened already, except it takes time to change. Whatever. Anyway, what else do you have, Jayson?
Gideon is telling Jackson that he's saved 36 things on the ship, but he's not.
Yeah, okay, so the deal with that is Jackson thinks that there are 35 decks, but it turns out there are actually 36. There's a hidden deck. We do that kind of level 3 thing from first season Smallville. The deal here is, and why this is ridiculous, is I think it's really contrived to have this secret deck that Gideon wasn't told by Rip to not mention. Like, the fact that he has this extra compartment where he's saving things that he doesn't want the other legends to know about. That's consistent with his character. He doesn't, he didn't really trust people. He had, and it seems like he had reasons not to tell the legends. We'll find out what that is. But, and by the way, I keep calling them the legends. The show is calling them that now. Like they're calling them themselves that in the show. I think that's kind of silly. I don't really love that, but whatever. Anyway, Jefferson fixes a lot of stuff, he fixes the ship, and he talks to Gideon, and Gideon's like, yes, all 36 dags, and he's like, wait, there's only 35. That's preposterous. Why wouldn't Rip have told Gideon or programmed Gideon to not tell anybody about the 36th dag? That she mentions that offhandedly is really silly. So there's a message. Do you remember who the message is from? There's a message they find in that secret compartment. Somebody's talking from 40 years in the future. It's Barry Allen.
Yep.
Remember? Mm-hmm. And we don't know yet what his message is. That could end up being kind of fun and interesting. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was something about the legends.
Yeah, we don't know what it is yet. He doesn't. We don't get to hear all of it. So we've got a couple of our, and I don't always like this. We've got a couple of our protagonists knowing something we don't know, and they're not. But if I just look at Sarah Lance as the protagonist of the show, then that's fine, and that's what I would like to do. Still got her in the captain's chair. That's a lot of fun. But anyway, so. By the end of the episode, they know what the message is, and they understand why Rip hasn't told anybody, and they're like, yeah, we better keep this under our hats. We're not supposed to know about it either. I thought that might play for irritating forced drama, where they, with their keeping that a secret, but if Rip had a really good reason, I can kind of see why they would do that, so, hopefully we don't stretch that out too terribly long. I wouldn't expect to get it next episode, but 40-year older Barry Allen, that's kind of fun. It will be amusing if we get to see Grant Gustin wearing like 65, 70-year-old old man makeup.
Yeah.
Because that could happen. Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, what else you got, Jason?
Ray and Nate got in Japan.
Yep, Ray and Nate are in Japan. Mm-hmm. And, it's a fun period, of course. I think this feels as much like we're actually in that period as it ever has. I think the costumes and stuff are fine. One thing I really dislike about this show, especially when we go back to a period really far in the past, and again, you can argue, well, it's kind of cartoony, but they also want you to take it more seriously than I think you really can. I'm having a tough time with suspension of disbelief with this show. I think it's really problematic the way our characters are using a lot of modern-day slang and, present-day language that people from that period wouldn't understand, and they kind of respond to like they get what they're talking about, or they don't question it. I mean, it would be really irritating, of course, if every time you used modern-day slang, somebody was, the person on the other side was like, What is that? I don't know what you're talking about. But that's why you would be smart enough not to constantly do that. It's a little conspicuous, right?
Yeah.
There's a moment where, and I'm trying to remember the line, where the girl that Nate obligatorily falls in love with responds with the same slang that he says, like she understands what he's talking about, and I just thought that was ridiculous. It's not the bomb. What was it that they were talking about? It was like that'll be, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, what else you got, Jason?
Let's see. They finally find Ray.
Yep, they finally find Ray.
Yep. And
what happens to Ray's suit?
Where that was in my
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens to Ray's suit?
Somebody is in Ray's suit.
Is it the Shogun?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Shogun gets Ray's suit. And this could be a fun scenario, of course, but the first question you would have to ask is, why wouldn't Ray, who's got this futuristic technology that's really dangerous, that is able to shrink and it got really big once. I don't know if that's the thing that he can do all the time, I forget. But anyway, and it's got repulsor blasts, and it's basically an Iron Man suit that can get small, right? Why wouldn't he build something into it so that somebody else can't use it? And what's weird is he talks about it like he did that, and then we totally drop it. So he warns the Shogun. He's like, the suit is calibrated to me. He says it was made specifically for my body, and he even says, if I heard the line correctly, he excuse me. He even says, the suit can kill you.
Yeah, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, and then, toward the end of the episode, he says that the reason the Shogun is able to use it so readily is because he made it so that even an idiot can use it. So, like, we're just totally contradicting ourselves in the same episode. It's preposterous.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it would be an easy thing to use, but why wouldn't you have any kind of fail-safe or protocol in there, especially when you talk about it like you do? Anyway, that was obnoxious. Now, having said that, the fight stuff with him is kind of fun. We are just contriving reasons. I mean, again, I know I keep saying this, but it's like a cartoon show. We just keep contriving reasons to have fun action scenes, and it's certainly. There certainly are fun action scenes in this episode. I really like the choreography with Sarah versus the Shogun.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And it's sort of fun. I didn't mind this. Vixen thinking that ninjas aren't real. I thought that was kind of fun. It's like, 1942, she's like, there's no such thing as ninjas. And Sarah's like, I'm kind of a ninja. And then Vixen gets to see her do ninja stuff. And that was kind of fun. Now, the thing at the end where Rory is like, oh, I wish I had some kind of proof that ninjas are real.
Yeah.
He gets a ninja star, and I don't know, and then he's like, oh, cool, now I have proof. I mean, I don't know how you're going to be able to prove to anyone where that came from and how old it is, but maybe there's a way to date that kind of thing. Maybe collectors of ancient weaponry can tell, when it was made and where it came from, that kind of thing. So, I don't know, maybe so. But it looked like a big generic ninja star to me. Okay, moving right along.
Now they find Nate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Nate has fallen in love with this girl that is supposed to marry the Shogun.
Yeah.
And this is where things really break down. We are not remotely concerned with changing things in the timeline. And isn't that our job? Isn't that why the legends are supposed to be stopping bad people who are trying to mess with the past, who are trying to monkey with things in the past? And they are one of these groups all by themselves. They cause, or should be causing, as many problems as they're solving. And they just get lucky because the script says that nothing changes in the timeline, that whenever they go back in time and mess with everything, when they get to the future, nothing has changed. So, we kill the Shogun before he would have died in the real timeline. He doesn't marry this girl. You have to assume that he probably would have. Nothing else was getting in the way. And it doesn't affect the future at all. Nothing. Okay. And your time historian, your guy who isn't just a historian, but is looking specifically for things that seem to have changed in the time, like blemishes, like mistakes in the timeline. That's why he finds the time ship in the ocean. This guy is concerned with with these kinds of problems in the timeline, and he goes back in time and is like, oh, I fall in love with this girl in 5 minutes. So we do that easy TV thing of I fell in love with a girl in 5 minutes. And I can't let her marry this guy. There is no discussion whatsoever from anybody on the team about ruining the timeline and about how you can't change things because it'll ruin the future.
Yeah.
We're not even trying anymore with that stuff. All right, what else?
Let's see. Nate gets superpowers.
Yeah, so Nate is Steel, but he's not John Henry Irons. He's Citizen Steel. His grandfather is Commander Steel, And we have the easy, obvious name drop of Citizen Steel. I don't know why he would consider the word citizen. That comes from nowhere. That's really sloppy. I didn't like that. I don't think he'll probably call himself Citizen Steel in this show unless people have kind of read ahead and have listened to interviews and stuff, and they've said that that's what he's calling himself. But they've already started calling him Steel. So that's probably what his name's going to be in this, is just Steel. Excuse me. But anyway, so we do the Spider-Man 2 thing with that. So he gets injected last episode with a modified version of the Nazi formula that they were dealing with last episode, the Super Soldier Serum.
Yeah.
And basically Super Soldier Serum. And Ray has modified it, and he uses it to save Nate's life, and it also cures him of his disease that makes it so that his blood doesn't clot like blood normally clots. By the way, that was a thing I wondered about. I might be wrong about this, but would 17th century feudal Japanese guys know anything about blood clotting? And like how the chemistry of that works? Because there's a scene where we're talking about it, and I can't remember who it is, if it's if it's her father or grandfather, whoever the old guy is, or if it's the girl Nate falls in love with, that seems to know what he's talking about when he's talking about blood clotting. And I was like, I feel like you would not know what he was saying there. But anyway, so so it cures him, and it also gives him this side effect power that basically is like the X2 version of Colossus, where he can steal up, right? And the way it happens is basically like what happens with Bruce Banner and the Hulk, where if he experiences a lot of stress, if there's adrenaline, then he gets his steel powers and he steals up. And then suddenly, for no reason at all, it stops working. And I thought maybe it had something to do with time travel. I thought maybe it was like, because he went back to feudal Japan, now his powers aren't working. Nope, it's that Spider-Man 2 thing of, because he doesn't believe in himself, because he doesn't have confidence, his powers aren't working. And then at the end, he kind of develops some of his confidence again, and in that parallel with Ray and talking to Ray about how he's a hero regardless of whether or not his suit works and whether he has superpower, all of that. So he ends up developing his confidence again, and now he's able to steal up. What does that have to do with adrenaline and with stress? So that was silly. And of course, I'm sure from now on, he'll always be able to steal up, and we'll pretend like there's this big lesson he learned, and I'm sure he will remain completely stagnant, just like nearly every other character in the show. Yeah. What else?
Okay. Ghouls getting evil guys.
What's that now?
The ghouls are getting evil guys.
The girls are getting evil guys?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In that scene where everybody's fighting evil guys.
Yeah, okay, so you're talking about Vixen and Sarah fighting ninjas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That happens. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to bond a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Vixen. I'm not in love with her yet. She's kind of just there. She's serviceable. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Evil Adam v. Ray Palmer.
Yeah, okay. So you've got you got Shogun versus Ray, and Ray's got his own samurai suit on, which is pretty cool, and he's still got all these insecurities about not having superpowers, and he doesn't seem to have learned all that much from last episode. Now it's well, I'm nothing without my suit. So, like, I felt bad that I didn't have powers, but at least I have my suit. Oh, what am I without my suit? Well, you're a brilliant inventor. You're really optimistic. You've got your idealism. You believe in things. You have a pretty decent moral code. You're kind of the Superman of this show. It's not like you're not courageous and you're not about anything. I don't like all of that. What I want to know is why you can't just make another suit. Why is there no discussion about that? It, like, was it an accident in the first place? Oh, also, I should mention this. He talks about the serum like he made the steel thing happen on purpose, but he didn't, because he says he's trying to get Nate to steel up, and he's like, well, my serum was perfect, so this should be working. Okay, but it was a side effect. Like, you didn't know that was gonna happen, and then you're like, oh, my serum is perfect. No, it's not. It's a side effect. How would you know what the properties are of the serum and of the superpower that it gave this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Him in the steel guys, the armor, that looks really good. The CGI there is pretty decent.
What does CGI mean?
CGI is computer animation.
Oh.
So that's how we make that effect work. We do it in a computer with animation.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah kills an evil guy.
Yeah, so we blow up the suit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a big sacrifice that the Atom has to make. I've got to blow up my suit in order to save this these people and to save myself, and so that we can make sure this girl doesn't marry this guy. I mean, that's not his primary motivation or anything, but again, no talk about how this is going to affect the future.
Yeah, and that's a weird idea.
It's a weird idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah.
I think we have pretty much covered the gambit of what I want to talk about.
4 more.
All right, go ahead.
Steel kills an evil guy too.
Okay. There's a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the only person that actually dies is the Shogun, though.
Yeah.
You seem to think every time somebody gets knocked out, they get killed. It's kind of a little kid thing, you know. You say kill when you mean fell down. Go ahead.
Nate says goodbye to that girl.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Who he fell in love with again really easily over not a whole lot else other than she's really attractive and he loves that time period.
Yeah.
That's a thing you can make work, but with a time travel story like this, it has to be tragic.
Yeah.
It has to be, well, I would love to stay with you, but it's going to ruin the timeline. Or that's a, choice you make and you live with the consequences. But of course, that's not what we have going on here.
Yeah, and Ray says bye to that old guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. You're kind of generic, typical, wise old Japanese sage guy.
Yeah. Sarah asked Jackson if he fixed the ship.
Mm-hmm. And he did.
Yep.
But of course, again, they're not telling her about the message. And then at the end, they're just like, second start to the right and straight on till morning. It's ridiculous. We know that... excuse me. We know that Reverse Flash is doing stuff. I actually don't know if they know it's Reverse Flash right now, but they know that there's, bad stuff going on in the time stream, and they're not trying to investigate that. It really does feel like they're just like, we'll wait till something develops with that.
Yeah.
It's not linear time. You're in a time... Anyway. So, the show is still, as it has been, not smart at all. It's really consistent about that. We use these time periods as a contrivance for fun action scenes, and that's kind of where the focus in the production is. I wish that was the focus in the story. It'd be a better show.
Yeah.
And it's a little... It's more than a little insulting. This is not a smart show. But... I think the guy playing Nate's really good. Mm-hmm. I'm liking his dynamic with the Atom. I think with Ray. I think those two guys becoming closer friends is good and working. I love Rory every time he's on screen. I think he's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
We're to a point now where this show is so much of a cartoon show that guy just doing his ridiculous melodramatic voice is totally that's what we should be patterning the whole show on, is just that performance. And Sarah's still the captain and barking orders, and I don't want Rip to ever come back. And I was really worried at the beginning that Steel was going to be our new leader, that we were forcing him in because he had to replace Rip, and I'm really glad that's not where we're going with that.
Yeah, and the funniest thing about Roy at the beginning is when he says, "Oh, well, he's the library."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that line's just really funny.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No. That's
all right,
all
cool.
my notes.
Well, we will see you again next week for more Legends of Tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.